guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you are new. Oh, what was the song that I was singing? It was like, hey. Okay, so today we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. The best movie I've seen in a long time. Let me just start off saying that. I know that's a very big statement to say. Very big. Very bold. But that's the tea, sis. I don't know if you can see this. It's a mug I got from Five Below. It says, that's the tea, and I thought this would be great. But you can't even see it. There you go. A little bit. Thought it was going to be like my iconic mug. But I don't think it's going to work like that. I don't think it's going to work out. But this is the best movie I've seen in a very long time. Like, literally, several, like, more than 2 handful of times I laughed out loud. Literally laughed out loud. It was so funny. It was so good. And, like, you saw the character development. You saw the character growth. It was so good. It's so funny. And because when I first watched Scream 6, I was like, this is a good movie. I'd watch it again. You know, it's pretty good. You know. And then I watched this, and I was like, nothing compares to Dungeons and Dragons right now. There's not been a good movie in a very long time. You know why? The Disney-ification of everything. It's so annoying. They did it to Marvel. Marvel was really good. Marvel was really funny. I love Marvel. I love Iron Man. I love Spider-Man, okay? I love my original Avengers, okay? And I love Black Panther. I don't like Black Panther 2, and that is a whole other argument that I'll get into, and I need to make a video about. The underwater scenes just did not look good, okay? It's a little side tangent. The underwater scenes in Black Panther 2 were not good. You look at Avatar 2, Way of Water, the underwater scenes were beautiful. I could see shit, okay? I could see. It wasn't dark and murky or whatever. And then Black Panther 2, one of the main guys' thing is like, oh yeah, I use vibranium to bring sunlight to my people so they can see. Bitch, I still can't see, even with your pretend sun, so. Anyways, wrong movie, Dungeons and Dragons, amazing. Okay, we have Ray J. Jean. Let me pull up the cast. It's good. Okay. Hold on. From a mouse. Okay. Okay, so we got Ray J. Jean here, who, beautiful man. If you don't know who he was from Bridgerton, season 1. He was originally supposed to be a minor character in Bridgerton. He wasn't going to come back in season 2, because he wasn't really that important in the books. So then he got this deal for Dungeons and Dragons, and then he was such a hit in Bridgerton. Everyone wanted to come back, but he couldn't because he had a different contract. And boy, was he great in this movie, let me tell you. He was so good. He was so great. It's just a great movie. The fighting scenes were great. And it was just a really good movie. Like, on many accounts, okay? You see character growth, and it was funny. Marvel used to be good at doing funny scenes in their movies, okay? They used to be good at that. And then after Endgame, Infinity Wars, you know, after the third, I don't know what it's called, chapter, whatever, don't come for me in the comments, third phase, God, of Marvel passed. That was right when Disney bought it. And then Disney brought in all of its Disney-fication shit. And then it wasn't funny anymore. And it just, too much, too fast. And every single movie, you never got time to digest anything. There was, in so many movies now, it's like, hit. Not like fighting, but like, here's this thing going on. 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 There's no lulls for you to really digest what's happening in the movie. And I think that's why I liked Dungeons and Dragons so much, because if you watch it, holy shit, so many things happen in that movie. There are so many different scenes, they go to so many different locations, but they have these lulls, these calm moments, not even calm moments for a comedic break, but like when Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, they are on their horses and they're singing and riding off to the next place or whatever. There's like, because spoilers in the movie, Michelle Rodriguez plays Holga. She goes to confront her ex-husband. Turns out he's remarried, someone that is like a duplicate Holga, and it was very rude. And she was very upset. She was heartbroken. And Eadgan, I don't know how to say Chris Pine's character's name, he tried to cheer her up by singing. They were singing their song and riding on their horses. That was a lull moment that wasn't for comedic effect. It was a little silly, but it showed, one, that character, it gave you time to really digest what was happening, really digest Holga's feelings and her sadness, okay? And then it really portrayed to you the relationship, the bond between Eadgan and Holga. Because so many movies nowadays are just like, yeah, they're best friends, but, and they just tell you, they don't show you. It's all tell, no show. And they said, oh, they were friends, you know, they became friends because Holga felt pity for the baby, you know, she was only there for the baby, for the child. And then you see this beautiful friendship between them that has developed, and you know that they're there for each other now, too. And it was really just such a good movie. Because of those lulls, you really got to digest the plot and think to yourself about, like, what's going on in the movie. You know, like, what is happening? What is our goal again? Why are we doing this? You didn't leave the movie theater confused on the plot and what they were trying to do throughout the movie, because there were those lulls to digest things. And during those lulls, it opened up a larger array of emotions you can get from your audience. Because if it's just intense, 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 all throughout the entire movie, intensity, and then you try to throw a joke in there for comedic relief, and you never let the audience, like, let go from the stress, some of them may not get it. You know, it may not come across as funny. It may not land. This was a beautifully written and done movie. Best movie I've seen in a very long time. Like, I went to it with a friend in the middle of it. I wanted to go to my friend and be like, this is the best movie I've seen in a very long time. Like, holy shit. And even on Rotten Tomatoes, it's let me scroll up. A 91% Rotten Tomatoes, should be higher, because such a good movie. Such a good movie. And, okay, here's something. I can't click. This is a very diverse cast, okay? You know, like, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of our main characters that pop up on this main little tab thing already on Google. From appearances, and from the movie in appearances, only 3 of them were white. So, majority of the main cast is people of color, people that aren't white. And it was really nice because it wasn't thrown in your face. You know, some movies, like, they make it a thing. They make it a point. Instead of just having these actors because they best suit the role, you know? Because there's a way to write it where it's like, yeah, this person best suit this character. Point blank, period. The end. And then there's movies where they really talk about it. And you're like, why? You know, like, Holga, right? So in the movie, she is a strong, badass woman, okay? In a fighting scene, she's taking on all these men. She's beating them all up. Egan, played by Chris Pine, he's tied up. He's, rubbing his rope on the stairs, trying to cut it. He's like, oh yeah, we got him now. We got him now. And it was so funny because he's not fighting anybody. It's Holga that's doing all the work. She's doing all the heavy lifting. And because there are some movies where it's like they just shove in your face, like, oh, women are just as strong as men, and that whole thing that, like, is not the main point of the movie or the show, but they throw it in there anyways. Like, if you ever watched She-Hulk, the TV show, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. The animation wasn't great, first off, and then, a lot of the reviews were like, the Hulk, the actual Hulk, he spent years controlling his anger and learning all these abilities, and She-Hulk comes in and she's just naturally gifted at all of them right off the bat, and that's annoying. Okay, in this movie, that didn't come across. It didn't come across like, oh, they're trying to show that women are stronger than men. That's so... No. They didn't show that because they never claimed that Chris Pine was a great fighter. And he's being shown up by Holga. No. Like, the intro, the first time we see Chris Pine, he's knitting in jail, which I loved and adored. And I was like, he's not the fighter type. He is not the fighter of this dynamic. Holga is. And so there was no questioning that. And it was just done so, like, elegantly. Like, I loved it. And, like, Ray J. Jean, who plays Z, I can't even try to say his name, starts with a Z. I don't know what sound a Z makes. When it was like, say the word with a Z. Not a Z. Can't read. His name starts with an X. Everyone's like, oh, say a word with an X. I'm like, X-ray. Don't know a word that starts with an X. But it was just so good. Also, let me tell you something. Scary. Did not expect this. I thought this was going to be like, oh, little cutesy kids movie, blah, 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 blah. That shit scared me a little bit, okay? Sophia, she's a witch. She's, spoiler... Okay, real spoiler here. A red elf? Witch thing? I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. I don't really know. But she was disguised. She was a bad guy, okay? When she was like, there is a shapeshifter in our group. And then she pointed at Sophia Lills, who plays Doric. She was disguised as a fly. She points at her. Pretend you're the fly. She points at her with her finger, like bent, kind of funky, like a witch would. Got her finger pointed all weird. And then her eyes are all big and they glow bright blue. And the tip of her finger is a bright blue. And she goes, ah! Like a weird scream. Like, that shit got me in the theater. And then we see, little fly friend running away. I'm like, bitch, I'd run too. That was terrifying. So every time she does her little point and scream and her eyes are all blue and like it's like a death noise, which makes sense because she's kind of dead, but scary, not a fan of that. Nope. But it was such a good movie. And like the set was really good. Like there are some elaborate sets in here, and no doubt they had to use animation. Okay. They had to use CGI. And I don't know if it's just like because CGI is like mass produced, but like for a little bit here, CGI is like, it's not been good. Like, it's been low quality shit lately. Everything in this movie was immaculate. It was amazing. The CGI was great, and especially, oh my god, the cute little dragon in this movie. They said he was pudgy. He couldn't get out of his cave, and then he's trying to fly, but he can't because he's too big. And the chubby little dragon was chasing them. I'm like, this is my cat chasing her feather toy right here. It was so cute. I loved it. Like, the displays of magic were also really good. Like, because they could easily have messed up and make it look cheesy, but it didn't. It looked really, really good. And everyone's backstory, again, people aren't taking the time, they're rushing things. Okay? Sometimes characters have really good backstories, but the backstory is thrown at you in such quickness and speed that the trauma of the event, the backstory that they're giving you, is shoved at you so fast that it just kind of gets like brushed over, and you don't really have time to sit with it and be like, oh my god, that's terrible. Like, again, I don't want to compare it to Black Panther, because I talked crap about that earlier, but when they gave the backstory for the villain in Black Panther 2, and not really a villain, I don't know what he is, but the guy with the winged feet, okay? What he was describing was traumatic. It was terrible. Okay? He was describing, his people were getting enslaved. It was terrible. But it seemed so rushed and thrown at you. And maybe also it's because we never got to really see any of the characters react to the retelling, to take that time to really sink in what was happening, that it felt like they were just throwing it in there just to throw in his reasons. And it wasn't as good. Whereas in this movie, it was very, very good. Okay? When they talk about and this is another thing that I really, really liked about the movie, is that they put these little hints in there. Like, the red elves, are they elves? I don't know what they are. But they were taking over, and they killed all these people, took all their souls with this, like, red horn looking thing. And as the audience, that Sophia took that same red horn earlier. And they're like, we don't know what her mission is. We don't know why she wants to do this. And you're like, oh, but I know, as the audience, that she has this red horn. And they don't know that. And so that creates suspense. Okay? And then at the end of the movie, again, spoilers. When Chris Pine finally is reunited with his daughter, they're going to go off into the sunset, and the red little arches, red cloud spiky things are coming down from the sky, just like when the last time the red horn was used and they killed all these people. Chris Pine and all the characters don't know what that is, but you, the audience, that saw the flashback earlier of the last time the Red Elves took over, you know what's happening. And so you're like, oh God, the suspense. Are they going to turn around? Are they going to save the day? So good. Like, it was so good. I hope they make a second one. I bet they will. Because it was amazing. It was so good. But yeah, that's what I thought Dungeons and Dragons. I gave a little bit of spoilers here and there. Nothing that I don't think was already in, like, the previews. because there's also just so much going on in the movie. It's a lot, but it's definitely worth it. It's so good. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. Me and my theater, we laugh out loud so many times. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I highly recommend you go watch the movie in theaters. Okay? They did a little thank you at the beginning of us watching it about going and see things in theaters. Go see things in theaters. It's a different experience. It's really good. If you get a Regal's pass, again, I'm not sponsored by Regal, but I just really enjoy my Regal pass. You can see as many movies as you want. As many as you want. Highly recommend. And I'll see you guys in the next video when I'm reviewing another movie. See you guys then. Bye.